Hare Krishna, everyone. So we're here at this most amazing temple of Shri Radha Govinda here in Las Vegas, Nevada, of all places. So as we were leaving California and en route to Washington, D.C., driving, we stopped over and found the most amazing, wonderful devotees, beautiful temple room, wonderful Srila Prabhupada, beautiful deities, and the Govindas, which is always a hit. So I'm just going to read a little bit of Bhagavatam here, and for the lordships, and then we'll read a little bit with Srila Prabhupada also. So, okay, should we say the invocation?
Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Where are we?
Okay, it's Canto 3, Chapter 28, Text 29. Chapters entitled Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service. So verse 29. The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, who presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent and his crystal clear cheeks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator-shaped earrings. Purport. The Lord descends to the material world out of his deep compassion for his devotees. There are two reasons for the Lord's appearance or incarnation in the material world. Whenever there is a discrepancy in the discharge of religious principles and there is prominence of irreligion, the Lord descends for the protection of the devotees and the destruction of the non-devotees. When he appears, his main purpose is to give solace to his devotees. He does not have to come himself to destroy the demons, for he has many agents. Even the external energy Maya has sufficient strength to kill them. But when he comes to show compassion to his devotees, he kills the non-devotees as a matter of course.
Really appreciated this, the first part where it says that the Lord presents his different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. So we know that the Lord takes many different forms in his Archavigraha form, and devotees become attracted and attached to different Ishtadevs, deities of their heart, and they worship those deities. All of our previous acharyas have been attached to specific deities, and so those are also manifestations of the Lord's mercy and compassion for the anxious devotees. And we're so happy that the Lord has manifested as Shri Radha Govinda here in Las Vegas for devotees who are driving through the desert and in the middle of Sin City. So it's amazing. And, yeah, very powerful. Anything?
Yeah, I was thinking that it says there are two reasons that the Lord appears, but then I was thinking, actually, look at the power of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, that we have this oasis in this desert. I mean, I was thinking it would be like something like a Namhata type thing, or like something, and there's a Govinda, so people can have experience of prasadam as well, not just seeing the deities, seeing the books. It's the power of the pure devotee that wherever Srila Prabhupada went, he left Krishna there. I'm leaving now, so I've got to go on to the next country or this. But you stay here, like he did in Australia, where he said, there are malechas and yavanas, but please,
stay here.
Just stay. and the pure devotee can do that. Just hang tight, Krishna, just for me. And he just moves on somewhere. And Krishna, therefore, I guess because of Prabhupada's mercy, therefore they didn't get reactions to the extent that you would if you don't worship Radha Krishna properly, because he's allowing that. Look, they're not qualified, I know, but just be tolerant, just stay here. And That's amazing.
The Lord appears in the particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. There are millions of forms of the Lord, but they are one absolute, as stated in the Brahma Samhita. Advaitam achyutam anadim ananta rupam. All the different forms of the Lord are one, but some devotees want to see him in the form of Radha Krishna. Others prefer him as Sita and Ramchandra. Others would see him as Lakshmi Narayan, Vasudev. The Lord has innumerable forms, and he appears in a particular form as preferred by a particular type of devotee. A yogi is advised to meditate upon the forms that are approved by devotees. A yogi cannot imagine a form for meditation. Those so-called yogis who manufacture a circle or target are engaged in nonsense. Actually, a yogi must meditate upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that has been experienced by the Lord's pure devotees. Yogi means devotee. Yogis who are not actually pure devotees should follow in the footsteps of devotees. It is especially mentioned here that the yogi should meditate upon the form which is thus approved. He cannot manufacture a form of the Lord. So, excuse me, as we know in these previous verses, this beautiful description has been given of the Supreme Lord, and this is Shastra, this is Scripture, this is the definitive description and form of the Lord. Not that, and there are so many forms, as is being mentioned, Lord Nrsingadev, Varaha, Vamanadev, Kormadev, Matsya, so many different forms of the Lord. And it's described that the Lord, he manifests an incarnation in every species of life. So that's 8,400,000 species, and in every one of them there's a form. So there are unlimited forms, so not that we need to concoct or make something up or try to imagine some form, but we should understand that the Lord has already manifested a form that is to our liking, so it's not that we should try to concoct or make up some form. Like Prabhupada says here, if they manufacture a circle or target. Now, I'm not sure what he's referring to there specifically, but obviously there are some yogis who profess to focus on some sort of a target or circle or something like that. So if you know what this is referring to specifically, you can put it in the comments there. But like that. Any thoughts?
I was just saying, it's nice again that we come here in the middle of the desert, but we recognize the Lord. Because it's not that they're like, oh, because it's Las Vegas or this, let's do like a sombrero or whatever. I'm just saying that we recognize Radha and Krishna. There's Giriraj there, we recognize Gaur Nitai, because we're worshipping the authorized, bona fide forms of the Lord, and it's just familiar.
Very nice. You want to read one more? Should we just read this way, or did you want to turn the other way?
Let me just stay here.
Okay.
Text 30. The yogi then meditates upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. Purport. One important statement here is Dhyayan Mano Mayam. Mano Mayam is not imagination. Impersonalists think that the yogi can imagine any form he likes, but as stated here, the yogi must meditate upon the form of the Lord which is experienced by devotees. Devotees never imagine a form of the Lord. They are not satisfied by something imaginary. The Lord has different eternal forms. Each devotee likes a particular form and thus engages himself in the service of the Lord by worshipping that form. The Lord's form is depicted in different ways according to scriptures. As already discussed, there are 8 kinds of representations of the original form of the Lord. These representations can be produced by the use of clay, stone, wood, paint, sand, etc., depending upon the resources of the devotee.
So it seems like Srila Prabhupada is specifically referring to deity forms, Murti forms.
Mm-hmm.
And we see here that it appears that, of course, Radharani is brass, so she's metal, and probably Krishna is also, but he's got painted black. And it's
I don't know if
beautiful.
they're going to hear you. Sometimes they say that when you turn
So Radharani is brass, so made of metal, and Krishna is also likely brass but painted black. I don't think he's black marble, but he could be. And of course Gaur Nitai are brass. And it's just so beautiful, and like you were saying, it's like a form that we recognize. So
Yeah.
Because I remember when Radhanath Maharaj telling the story of when he first went to Bari Place, and he saw, that was the first time he ever saw Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, and he thought that the devotees had concocted some forms of the Lord because they're such unique forms, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, and he thought they were like some totem poles because he had been in Vrindavan, he had been so many places in India, but somehow had not seen the form of Jagannath. So, but then later realized that it wasn't. That's also a form of the Lord. So this next paragraph. Manomayam is a carving or the form of the Lord within the mind. This is included as one of the 8 different carvings of the form of the Lord. It is not imagination. Meditation on the actual form of the Lord may be manifested in different manners, but one should not conclude that one has to imagine a form. There are 2 comparisons in this verse. First, the Lord's face is compared to a lotus, and then his black hair is compared to humming bees swarming around the lotus, and his 2 eyes are compared to 2 fish swimming about. A lotus flower on the water is very beautiful when surrounded by humming bees and fish. The Lord's face is self-sufficient and complete. His beauty defies the natural beauty of a lotus. So I'm so happy Srila Prabhupada explained that analogy there, because I was thinking, so Krishna's face is like a lotus, and his hair is like swarming bees, humming bees around the lotus of his face, and his eyes are like 2 beautiful fish that are swimming around the lotus. And it says that he puts to shame this elegance. Krishna's beauty is actually more beautiful than even this description. So very, very poetic, very lovely.
Very detailed.
So wonderful. Should we read one more? It's short.
Okay. Text 31. The yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Purport. As long as one is in conditional life in the material body, it is natural that he will suffer from anxieties and agonies.
Give me the truth, brother.
One cannot avoid the influence of material energy. Even when one is on the transcendental plane, sometimes disturbances come, but the agonies and anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his beautiful form or the smiling face of the Lord. The Lord bestows innumerable favors upon his devotee, and the greatest manifestation of his grace is his smiling face, which is full of compassion for his pure devotees.
Wonderful.
Nice. It's nice. Just again, just not to keep repeating, but it's like we were driving and we've got a long drive back, which ends on Monday in DC. But
and then we get on the plane and fly.
But it's nice that along the way, if we can, we're going to try to obviously stop off at different ISKCON temples, and it just, it always feels familiar and like at home. And then you see the deities, and it's, whichever temple you go to, the standards there such that it's just so breathtaking. That we're in Laguna Beach and we're in LA, and now here it's just so, like it says here, such a beautiful form, and the smile, and the Lord's just here. Like when we go, He'll just still be smiling.
Giving mercy to all the people. And I can imagine here in Las Vegas, there's lots of people. People are suffering everywhere, like Prabhupada says, whether it's first-class prison, second-class prison, third-class prison, or whether it's gold chains, silver chains, or bronze chains. Either way, we're still in chains, or still in prison. But I can imagine here, lots of people are, people come here to win, to become successful, to find Lady Luck.
Or Lakshmi.
Lakshmi. And I'm sure there's lots of disappointment that comes along with it. So when people become disappointed, which is one of the 4 types of persons that come to Krishna, when they become distressed, then they can come here and have this beautiful glance of Shri Radha Govinda, so cooling in this room, and Prabhupada's mercy is there. All glories to the devotees who've surrendered to and taken up the mission to start a temple here. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So.
Very humbling.
Yeah.
Maybe some people come here to pray so they can win, but you know how tricky Krishna is, and then he's like, oh, I'll let you win, but not in that way. Some people might come, let me win on the slots, let me win on this. Because you pray to God for different things.
Yeah.
And then they end up winning in life.
Yeah. If you get Krishna, you're never a loser, that's for sure. But Krishna says, of gamblers, I am the cheat. So He's going to cheat us all out of our material desires and give us spiritual happiness, which is the highest wealth. As you know, the story of Sanatana Goswami, which I'm not going to tell now, how he had the Chintamani stone, and which could turn anything into gold, and he had that on his garbage pile because for him more valuable than the Chintamani stone was the holy name. So like that. Hare Krishna.
So you just told the story, but abbreviated.
Could have told more. Okay, should we finish here?
Yeah, we better, because we got to hit the road now.
Okay. Thank you all very much for watching. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please read the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
And keep following. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Shri Radha Govinda, and all glories to ISKCON Las Vegas. Hare Krishna.